Hi, I'm Matthew McLean. I'm the creative director of Frieze Studios and the editor of Frieze Week magazine, and this is Art Live. I'm here on the west side of Manhattan, just a few city blocks away from the shed, where in a few moments, Frieze New York 2024 is about to open, offering more than 60 galleries from over 25 countries and an amazing program of live art realized in collaboration with local nonprofits and institutions. It's an interesting moment in the art world to think about that idea of the center and what's central. A couple of weeks ago at the Venice Biennale, which is kind of like a Davos for the art world, there was a great deal of talk about artists that have been marginalized and what it means to come back into the center of debate in the canon. And this week in New York, some of the major exhibitions opening, I think, also reflect this dynamic of rethinking center, periphery, margins, canon. Some examples are the Met Museum just opened on its roof, a new commission by a Kosovan artist, Petrit Halilai. At MoMA PS1, you can see textiles by the Philippine artist Pachita Abad. And another exhibition which I think really speaks to this moment is this awe-inspiring one at Dear Chelsea by Delcy Morelos, who's a Colombian artist of indigenous descent based in Bogota. And I'm going to speak to Dia's deputy director, Humberto Moro, about this extraordinary exhibition.
Its main material and medium is dirt, but it's also the subject of it. In the cultures that are close to the Amazonas and to the Andes, spirituality is very linked to the soil and to the water, thinking about life cycles and what that permits and allows, and also our relationship with the material. The work is titled The Embrace, or El Abrazo, and it's a literal embrace. We're embedded in this earthly experience.
Can you tell me a bit more about that invitation to touch and to smell and how that's woven into the work, or how the artist conceived it?
She refers the opportunity to touch this work as if one was caressing someone else. So there's this idea of another body that's present. Personally, it's a very significant exhibition for me because it brings to the fore the importance of having diverse points of views that are solidifying our history at the same time that they're problematizing it and they're bringing another vision. What's amazing about New York is that everyone is incredibly open. You can engage in conversations with strangers that are incredibly meaningful in the subway, in the corner, in a bodega, in a museum, and I really enjoy being embedded in an environment that has that kind of openness.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, and we Mexicans hug, so I'll hug you.
And embrace.
In the embrace.
Yes. So I'm outside the shed where Frieze New York 2024 is just about to open in a few moments. The fair has a really global flavor this year, which I'm really excited to experience. There are exhibitors joining from South Africa, from the Republic of Georgia in the Caucasus, and there are substantial presentations by artists working in Addis in Ethiopia and Tuktoyaktuk in Canada. It's already getting quite busy at the main entrance, so I'm going to see if I can flash my pass and sneak in the back.
This is the device that turned me into a cyborg, was born the same year I was. Long title. I lost my 2 cochlear implants, the devices that basically have turned me into a living cyborg and support me in hearing. And so this film is basically about me realizing how much energy I didn't realize was going into straining to try to assimilate to hear at times when I didn't want to or didn't have to. And now I use my hearing device, my cochlear implant, more so as a tool. I wear it sometimes, but I wear it when I want to, not when I feel like hearing people want me to make their lives easier.
For a lot of people, you are an inspiration, a beacon, a provocation. And I wonder, how do you balance those expectations with the freedom you need as an artist?
I think I just have to lead with what is true to me. And then some people may connect with it. Some people may hate it, but it's from a grounded, peaceful place.
The Deutsche Bank collection specializes in photography and works on paper. And it actually includes several examples of works from a series, which you can see some of behind me. The series is called Mesmerizing Mesh. It's by the Korean artist Haegue Yang, who's based in Germany. And it all works with paper, as you can see. There is this kind of intricate collaging, layering, almost a weaving of different kinds of paper, some of which is hand-dyed. And it's semi-abstract and with some sort of figurative references. You can almost see a figure with little hands in the middle of one of these examples. In this series, Yang is really drawing on certain traditional Korean practices, as well as the Korean culture of paper, but also drawing on Shinto practice from Japan and Slavic folklore beliefs. While they have this kind of amazing optical array, I'd say they also, for me, represent some kind of a soul journey. This is on the stand of Kurimanzutto, a gallery based in Mexico City as well as New York. And I love the cosmopolitanism of seeing a Korean-born artist based in Germany showing with a Mexican gallery in New York. And in that same spirit of dialogue, I was looking at these paperworks and making connections with works by the artist Clarissa Tossin, who was born in Brazil and shows with the Los Angeles Gallery, Commonwealth and Council, which similarly more with the tradition of tapestry, but also using paper elements. And there's a really interesting dialogue, I think, between the two practices and how they both interweave different layers, rethink these traditional forms.
My dad was a photographer, so he always took pictures in the house. We would do little plays and things like that. And then I was in a singing group, and we went on to sing at the Apollo. We sang for it was 3 of us, and we would win at the Apollo. I don't know if you're familiar with the Apollo.
I know it by reputation.
Yes,
for sure,
we
yeah.
lost to Stephanie Mills our 4th week, and we were sore losers. We never sang again.
And can you tell me about when you really began as a visual artist and the practice?
There was a big pause for 25 years, and I went into drug addiction for 25 years. I became very suicidal. I was doing sculptures that were pulling something out of me. I wouldn't plan to do them. They just kept coming out. It's like I couldn't help it. I just had to create. Like if I start off with a piece of clay, I never know what's going to be, how it's going to look in the next 5 minutes. But I can feel a presence.
To what extent are these individual witnesses? Do you know what I mean? Or are they stand for humanity?
Like her. This could be anybody. She has a sign of peace. She has a sign of strength.
Yeah.
But she has all those holes. And I remember when I poked each hole, for some of them I was thinking about the hundreds of people I know that died. I was thinking of different things that happened in my life. Each hole represented something. But still she stands, still she rises.
Well, it's like that cliche, what's it? There's a crack in everything, that's where the light gets in. The holes is where God gets into us.
I like that, yes.
What we look for in an art fair is something like this. An artist who has an ounce or 1,000 pounds of genuine, visionary, need, obsession, something half mad, something almost not of this world, something that we all know but can't identify. Joyce McDonald has this. These are ancestor figures, demons, saints, protecting spirits. Even if you do not like this art, it has something deep, important, everlasting, and very meaningful. That is why we come to art fairs like Frieze. If you look hard enough, you will find a few things here and there that will speak to you.
Okay, what are you going to do tonight when you leave the art fair? Tell me.
I will walk home 30 blocks. I will sit down at my desk and worry about writing, because I don't have a life.
If you don't worry, you're not a writer.
Thank you, Frieze.
So I mentioned earlier about the range of artistic positions represented in this fair, including artists, say, working in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. And this is he. It's Elias Sime. He produces these works on these horizontal canvases, and they look from a distance, they're almost painterly. They're kind of geometric, very sensitively colored. The hues are quite earthy and organic seeming. But actually all of his work is made from repurposed computer components. So this is bits of circuit boards and wiring, which have been molded, mended, and in some cases hammered into place. It's work that really makes you think about the global implications and the inequalities of the way we live. It really makes you think, where is the stuff that's sent to landfill actually end up? But as well as being thought-provoking, in that sense concerning, there's something very inspiring, because this artist really does take waste and turn it into something very beautiful. This stand feels a bit like an exquisite corpse in the sense of it's a wonderful kind of micro summary of the gallery's program. Could you just talk me through your concept for the presentation?
It's specifically trying to understand the ways that we see, understand, sometimes relate to, collaborate with, or even become nature ourselves. through the works of 7 different artists working across a variety of media altogether.
Is that a concern, would you say, let's call it an ecological concern that feels particularly prominent?
For all the works that we try to show at the gallery and the artists that we try to work with, it's never just about aesthetics, even though that plays a part. We really try to be as connected to the world that we live in and engage with all the different things that are happening, good and bad. We are a political entity, and so we're not afraid to get into those spaces.
This is work of an artist who works very literally closely to nature. Could you just talk us through this installation, which is beautiful?
Many years over, a couple of decades, there was a huge hurricane that swept through Guatemala, and her studio actually was flooded and all the works were soiled. But then after a while of thinking it through, she came to this beautiful epiphany and realizing that she'd been painting nature for many decades, and now it was nature that was coming over and paint in. So she actually decided to invite nature as an active collaborative force.
If I ever get rich, Suter is in my top 10 list of artists to buy.
Well, let me know.
I have to make a lot more videos first. This is a stand which is shared by 2 galleries, Sprüth Magaz and Karma International, and they've joined together to make this focused presentation just on the works of Sylvie Fleury, a French artist based in Paris, whose work is also included in the Deutsche Bank collection. Some of Sylvie's works in the Deutsche Bank collection are from a series in which she looked up makeup samples and kind of blew them up and created these representations so that they almost look like classical abstract paintings. And she actually said in an interview about the series, she was looking through her makeup compacts and was like, hang on a second, these are beautiful, perfectly formed abstracts. And you can see in this work here, which looks for a moment like it's drawing on, in fact, a very New York tradition of shaped abstract canvases, but of course with the black edging and with the kind of nude skin tone in the middle, it also could be representing a makeup compact, a powder case. And the gallery's chosen to devote the back wall of the stand to this selection of neon works, which are from different periods of Sylvie Fleury's career. But they're all sort of quotations. The words and even the style of font are ones that she's found. So 4 of these are actually the brands of different perfumes. You can see Envy, Egoist, and the others are headlines from beauty magazines. And again, I love the fact that there's these moments of this kind of very gendered commercial culture, but presented in this way, they become slightly estranged. And you get to rethink, what does joy really mean to me? One of the joys of Frieze New York being at the Shed is after a long day at the fair, you can step right out onto the High Line, this incredible and iconic urban park that weaves its way all through the West Side, and enjoy a beautiful May evening in New York City. It's particularly exciting this year to be on the High Line because it's the first time Frieze New York has collaborated on a co-commission with High Line Art, presenting a brand new work by the New York-based artist Matty Davis. It's called Die No Die. It's a performance that travels all the way along the High Line. Whoa! The performance is really this embodiment of forces, of pressures, of pushes and pulls. There's a real sense of exhaustion at moments in the performance, which actually feels quite fitting for the end of preview day of Frieze New York. But there's also this real idea of persistence and hope. At one point, one of the performers declares, "This one tries." I hope you've enjoyed our try, conveying the energy of a day in New York and Frieze New York. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you next time for Art Live.